Right. Well, we should be live, everybody. Hello. Welcome to what is going to be a new style of stream on this channel. We haven't really had it before, where we've covered other teams' games, but that's what we're going to try and do tonight. Got a couple of us on here. Me, Caden is watching Portsmouth against Burton. I'm watching Barnsley away at Carlisle. We should hopefully have Max joining us live from Pride Park to watch Derby. But right now we're sort of just trying to figure out how the technology on that's going to work. See if you can get some of that 4G that is renowned for being so terrible in football stadiums. And for me, and then for later on, for the Bolton versus Oxford game, my little brother Dan will be joining us to give us some coverage of that game. So yeah, I've got Carlisle versus Barnsley up now. We'll be bringing you, obviously, they're the games that we're covering live on here. We'll be bringing you scores from around the grounds in League One. Some big games tonight in big areas of the table. The relegation lot need to do us a favour this evening, certainly. But yeah, it's going to be a great night. And a night where really there's no pressure on Posh. We can sit back and relax. We're not playing. Yeah, we can just chill. So hello everybody in the chat. Hope you're all having a fantastic week so far. We will hope that some results going our way tonight will make it even better. So we'll check the chat. Tommy PUFC says up the Posh. PUFC lad, it's Albie says, come on Carlisle, do us a favour, and Oxford. Yeah, we could certainly do with some positive results. Reading as well. So yeah. We'll go over to Derby, to Portsmouth now. They're taking on Burton, and Caden is watching that game.
So it was a great game for Burton. Could have been a goal, but yeah, still 0-0 at Fratton Park.
Yeah, cheers, Caden. So yeah, 0-0, but Burton putting on the pressure apparently. Caden's mic sounded a bit dodgy to me at the start there, but it should be fixed now. It was definitely clearer towards the end of that. So hopefully we won't have that again. But yeah, Burton knocking on the door, and Posh played away at Burton. Obviously at the weekend, that was a win for Posh, but they weren't easy to break down, Burton Albion, and we're hoping that they as we get a bit of entertainment for this evening. Of course, Cambridge, they're playing Lincoln away, and they're already 1-0 down after just 3 minutes. So Cambridge United very well and truly in the mud, which as a Peterborough United fan channel is something that we love to see. Yeah, Cambridge 1, Cambridge 0, Lincoln 1. Jack Moylan with the goal for Lincoln, who are going like a train at the moment in League One. That they're winning all the time, and I've heard certain Lincoln fans murmur about a playoff push. We'll see how possible that is. And we have Max Stairs within the call. He's managed to get Wi-Fi in the Derby Stadium, which is fantastic. So yeah, hopefully we'll be getting some live updates actually from the game. Carlisle are absolutely rubbish. They really are. They've been awful so far this season. And they're getting battered already by Barnsley. Barnsley unable to create a clear-cut chance so far in the game I'm watching. But yeah, it's 0-0. But it's definitely not comfortable for the away side. As apologies here. Obviously with me and my brother both covering games, the McClellan household is kind of mad Wi-Fi wise. We'll see if we can go over to Max now at Derby. This may or may not work. Yeah, the technology is not playing particularly ball, but obviously he's inside of a football stadium, which is slightly difficult. So yeah, Carlisle 0, Barnsley 0. We've got Bolton Oxford coming up tonight. Probably the best game of the evening in terms of quality. Yes, certainly the best game in terms of quality, with all the other top sides playing against relegation struggling teams. Yeah, Max said there was a chance at Pride Park. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get in yet, whether his Wi-Fi will allow that. Hopefully will at some point in the evening. But yeah, Carlisle, they just can't keep the ball. Barnsley are just really moving it around. As there's been a red card already in one of the other games in League One, Shrewsbury have a red card against Exeter. Shrewsbury, who have sitting 17th right now, Exeter 16th. They're level on points. Only one goal difference separates them. So tonight, whoever wins tonight will go ahead. And you fancy Exeter now have 85 minutes at 10 men of Shrewsbury. They should do okay. Caden, you said Burton were piling on the pressure early in that game. Have Portsmouth settled down at all, or have Burton had any more big chances?
I mean, there's not really been anything so far. It's still quite even so far. Nothing to separate the two sides.
Yeah, so level pegging. Carlisle really are bad. Like I think I've given myself the short straw here, having to watch Carlisle this evening because they're so struggling. We'll read some of the chat for now. Yeah, so Caden, I don't know what's going on with your mic. If you can hear me, it's like it's weird. It'll be fine. It will be like really, really dodgy, and then like halfway through become fine again. So I don't know what's going on there. If there's another mic you could use, that will probably work better. But if not, don't worry. Reading defensively sound all Derby is the latest update from Pride Park. And yeah, so Jordan Shipley was the player sent off for Shrewsbury in their game against Exeter. He was the player that scored that goal against Peterborough, that fluke goal that gave them the lead. As Caden wants to come back on to talk about Portsmouth.
No, I don't. I'm just checking if my mic's all right.
Oh yeah, your mic's much better now. That's perfect.
It's because I had the game audio on and it was muffling it up. So I've turned it.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Anyway, Caden, get back to watching your game and we'll hear from you, I'm sure, hopefully soon. Or maybe not, actually. The longer that game goes on 0-0, the better it is for Peterborough. Obviously, they play Portsmouth on Saturday. As a tackle is thrown in on a Barnsley central defender here. Carlisle just letting some of their aggression out in this game. I expected in a relegation scrap. In just 5 minutes' time, Bolton kick off against Oxford. And so, yeah, all the games this evening live on the channel. We have Carlisle versus Barnsley, Derby versus Reading. Hopefully, if Max's technology works, we have Portsmouth versus Burton and Bolton versus Oxford. That coverage will be starting when the game kicks off in 5 minutes' time. Some good games in League One this evening as well that we aren't covering. Fleetwood at home to Bristol Rovers. They need to start winning, Fleetwood. They're unbeaten in their last 4, but Bristol Rovers are not an easy team to play against. And Fleetwood are certainly, they're in the ascendancy under their new manager, but if they want to have any chance of staying up, they're going to need to start putting points on the board and quickly. Leyton Orient play Port Vale. They were looking like for a while, Leyton Orient, they were going to have a run on the playoffs. But yeah, they're struggling a bit as Carlisle coming forward here against Barnsley. Oh my God, a terrible mistake. While Carlisle are 1-0 up. Luke Armstrong, who they signed in January, has just put Carlisle ahead against Barnsley. What a brilliant result that is for Peterborough United, who currently sit level on points with Barnsley, or at least they were before that goal. Barnsley fall 1 behind now. Wow, that's a shock result. a shock start, and it's really been all Barnsley. They've been absolutely all over Carlisle, but this was a really, really good piece of football. Just a really nice bit of striker play from the Carlisle striker. As Max Stairs says, Joe Ward's just had a great free kick saved. Um, um, Over at Pride Park, Joe Ward, who was getting some love from Derby fans. I think he's one of those Marmite footballers, Joe Ward. You never really know. What you're going to get from him, but when he's on form, he's some player. This is the first time we're doing this. The technology is obviously tough to coordinate, but I think we're doing okay so far. As Barnsley take the ball back, and they're just trying to try and respond, because that goal definitely will have hit them. And the Brunton Park atmosphere is cranked up a little bit. Not much of it this season, of course, just with the nature of how poor they've been. But yeah, a massive, massive goal in the race for automatic promotion, and one that Barnsley really, they were absolutely battered by Lincoln on Saturday. 5-1 at Oakwell, which was one of the shock results of the season. And yeah, they'll need to bounce back tonight, because they're 1-0 down to Carlisle, who will be very, very happy with how this game's gone so far in terms of just getting a low block. As another crunching tackle goes in from a Carlisle centre back. You'd expect to see quite a few of them this evening. But yeah, we're just 10 minutes or so into these games. We'll go back to Fratton Park, where Caden's watching Portsmouth take on Burton. Caden, you said it was fairly even last time we spoke. Has that changed?
No, not really. Burton are coming forward here actually as we speak. They've entered the penalty area, but I don't think. Oh no, it's a shot that's dragged wide. Yeah, pretty much the same as what I had to say last time. Nothing to separate the two sides. Yeah, Burton are putting a little bit of pressure on them, but Portsmouth have probably been the better side so far.
Yeah, cheers, Caden. So Portsmouth will be looking to extend their gap at the top. They've got some tough games coming up, Portsmouth, all of the top three. Ed says, hi, Charlie. It was great meeting you in Burton. Yeah, nice to see you, Ed, mate. Mansfield are losing, apparently. Bolton looking fairly empty tonight, says the chat. We'll get an update on that from Dan in just a few minutes once that game's officially kicked off. Don't believe there's been any other goals to report in the rest of League One. Lincoln still beating Cambridge by 1-0. Carlisle beating Barnsley by 1-0. They're the only two goals so far. But the night is young. It's early on, and Derby are certainly pressing, from what we've been told by Max at Pride Park. There's Carlisle, some brilliant defending, and their defenders are very pumped up tonight. Yeah, that terrace, though, behind the Carlisle goal used to be sold out every week at the start of this season. It's not looking as full this evening, I can tell you that. Pretty sparse there. So we'll answer some questions from the chat. 2-2 prediction for Bolton Oxford tonight. What a cracker that would be. That would be an incredible game of football. Who do you want to win between Lincoln and Scumbridge? Lincoln. I mean, I don't like Cambridge, but I don't like Lincoln, but Cambridge I dislike more. And also Lincoln, I still don't think they are a threat to Posh, whereas Cambridge going down would be very funny. Who would prefer to play in the playoffs if we're in there? I don't want to play Stevenage. I'd rather avoid Stevenage. I think Derby, I think we could, out of the teams that are there, If Oxford get in, that'll be good. I would play the 6th place team if it was anyone but Stevenage. But if it was out of Derby or Bolton, I'd rather play Derby. I reckon we could do it. Are you going tomorrow? Says Borough on tour. Yes, I am. We'll pretty much all be there from Borough on my mind, supporting the boys in what's a big game live on Sky. But yeah, we're nearly underway. I think we may have just kicked off at Bolton. We'll get an update from that once that game's got ticking a little bit more. As Carlisle still just defending this Oxford, this Barnsley press. Fleetwood 0, Bristol Rovers 0. Scrappy game there, from what I can read on here. Have you got your Wembley ticket yet, mate? Yes, I have. Flat start at Bolton so far. Well, we'll go and hear about the start at Bolton so far from Dan, my little brother. So your first contribution of the night, Dan. How has that game started over at the Tough Sheet Community?
Bolton have sort of been on the front foot for the first minute or so. They won an early throw-in, but there's not been too much going on. It's been quite a stale game. Both teams, I think, just sort of trying to feel each other out. And you can see they're two very competitive sides.
Cheers, Dan. So yeah, we're in the early stages of every game this evening. Get your predictions in, as Josh Massey has been doing in the chat. George says, where do you think we'll finish in the league? I think we'll be second. I'm backing us to come second this season. I think this is a season where we have a real chance, and I also think that the club needs to get promoted this season, because I worry about the state of what our squad could look like after the summer, after the raiding of the clubs above. If we don't manage to get promoted this season, I think it could be the start of something quite worrying, to be honest. Derby comfortable 3-0 win, says Josh Massey. Well, they've looked like they've been on the front foot so far, but they're always a front-footed side, Derby. That they play attacking football. That's sort of their thing. There's Josh Massey coming in with another prediction. Barnsley 3-1. Well, they're going to have to start attacking a bit better than they are, from what I can see here, if they're going to, because right now Carlisle are pretty comfortable dealing with them. Bolton Oxford 2-2. Pompey 2-0. I mean, that's nearly a worst case scenario evening for Posh, who will really just be hoping that as many of the teams around them drop points as possible. How many points do you need? Do you think we'll need to finish in autos? Personally, I think it'll be 90 plus. So I think we can only afford to lose one. Yeah, it could be. I mean, 96 last season, wasn't it, that Sheffield Wednesday got, and they didn't even get promoted automatically. The threshold is so high. It wouldn't surprise me if it was 90 plus. I mean, if Posh can get 90 plus points, incredible. Josh Massey, hoping I can jinx all of the games. Yeah, hopefully that'll be good. Shrewsbury down to 10 men. Lincoln leading, Carlisle leading, are the big results at the moment. Is Carlisle really having a go here? Ooh, you know what? Carlisle really fancy this tonight. They've just worked the ball really nicely down the left-hand side, cut it back to the edge of the area, and the midfielder Neil was waiting at the edge of the box, had a shot low, and the Barnsley goalkeeper Ben Killip had to get down to his right quickly, because there were on-rushing Carlisle players as they come forward again here. Carlisle, ball across. They've won themselves a corner. Roared on by the supporting crowd here. They're proper going for it, as we'll head quickly while this corner's happening to the Tough Sheet Community Stadium. Bolton 0, Oxford 0. Dan, how's it unfolding there?
Well, I've just seen a well-worked corner routine from Bolton, who had been stuck in their own half for 2 or 3 minutes prior to that, with Oxford winning a corner. But anyway, the ball got recycled and Bolton played the second phase, where Owen Toll managed to get a shot off, which narrowly missed the far post. The score here is 0-0, 6 minutes played.
Cheers, Dan, for that one. So yeah, only one goal in the games this evening, but we have another goal in League One. Wycombe beating Wigan by 1-0. Wycombe, who have had an upturn, certainly of form of late. They beat Posh obviously 5-2, beat Bradford 1-0 away in the semi-final of the Cup. Beat Cheltenham 2-0, Reading 2-1 at the weekend. And now they're winning at home against Wigan tonight. Wycombe slowly climbing their way towards the top half of the League One table, which they'll be very happy with, considering the season of transition that they've had to deal with this season. Wycombe, what is the score going to be tomorrow? I'd say 3-2. I reckon we'll batter them tomorrow. I think we'll win 2 or 3-0. It was Sam Tickle own goal for that got Wigan behind, which was quite funny considering his cartwheeling at London Road, his antics. I can't say I feel sorry for him getting that own goal. Charlie, did you enjoy Posh game on Saturday away at Burton Albion? I did, indeed. It was a great away day. As we'll go back to Bolton because there's been a fantastic save, says the chat, and I've just had a text from Dan saying that he feels the same. So, who saved what, and was it a great save, as Josh Mackey says in the chat?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable save. The ball was whipped in from the right side for Bolton, and big number 9, John Daddy Bodvarsson, got a head onto it, quite a good head, into the bottom left corner, and the Oxford keeper manages to just tip it away. I'm not sure how the score is still 0-0. 7 minutes played, 0-0. Bolton really starting to gain some traction here, and the famous atmosphere is really starting to get going.
Yeah, I'm sure the Bolton fans will love you calling it the famous atmosphere at Bolton. But yeah, sounds like Oxford are living dangerously in that game, which is not what you like to see when you're hoping for a shock result. But if they can just ride out this storm and get to half-time 0-0, you never know. But yeah, as we were saying, Wycombe 1, Wigan 0. It's still Lincoln 1, Cambridge 0. Gary Monk is not enjoying his first away game in charge. What an upturn in form Lincoln have had. Full credit to their manager, Michael Scabala, because he's done excellently. And they are now the outside shout for playoffs. You know, it's been Orient, it's been Northampton. They now sit just 3 points off the playoffs, with Stevenage having 2 games in hand. But the games that Stevenage have got, there's a chance for Lincoln City to go into the playoffs, and what momentum they'd have if they got there as well. Shrewsbury still down down to 10 men, but still holding out. Still 0-0 in that game. Carlisle very comfortable looking in this game, as we've had another goal at Lincoln. That's right, it's Lincoln 2, Cambridge United 0, and it's Jack Moylan again. What a run of games he's having. He scored 2 after coming off the bench at Barnsley at the weekend, and that's his second in this game. So 4 goals in 1.5 games for him as well. I'm watching the Barcelona game while watching your live stream, says Ed. Superb. I'll keep an eye on the Arsenal score for family members only. I get accused of being an Arsenal fan quite a lot, but I assure you that is only a little bit the case. But they're still 0-0 in their game with Porto. Apparently, there's been another big chance at Bolton. So, Dan, it feels like we're going to come back to you quite a few times this evening. What's happened at the Tough Sheet Community Stadium?
Oh, wow. So, at the other end now, Oxford have won a free kick after Ricardo Santos broke down the Oxford player, and Cameron Brannigan stepped up to take the free kick from, I'd say, about 30 yards out. He's taken it with his right foot just into the side netting, and I think a few of the fans thought it was in, to be honest. For a very, very entertaining last 5 minutes, 10 minutes played, 0-0.
Cheers, Dan. So yeah, it's still all going on. As Caden will get an update from Fratton Park now. Still Portsmouth 0, Burton 0. How is this game turning out, Caden?
Yeah, so Burton have been quite the dirty side so far. Portsmouth have dominated, but Burton are trying to take the chances and trying to catch them on the break, which is similar to what they did on Saturday. Portsmouth actually have a free kick right now. Let's see what they do here. They've had some decent chances so far. A couple of efforts, but not really anything major. As the free kick just goes over the bar. A good effort, to be fair, but it's still 0-0 at Fratton Park.
Cheers, Caden. So yeah, it's still 0-0. Only one goal in the game so far. Cheers, says Posh. This is a good production, guys. I like it. Trying our best. Obviously, if this is something you guys like, we'll try and do it more regularly when Posh don't have a game. This was sort of a spur of the moment thing this evening where we just thought let's just do it. But yeah, I think if this is something you enjoy, we'll certainly look to do it more and look to get other guests on as well as getting Tobber and Max involved next time. But yeah, we're doing we're just looking to get content going, as Boy is cooking is one of the comments. He certainly is. What a player. Josh Massey, great for interaction too. Yeah, I mean, if you don't fancy Sky Sports, we can be the substitute to that. I'm no Jeff Stelling, but I'll give it my absolute best. As my stream for Carlisle versus Barnsley is disappointingly frozen, so I can't give you updates from there for now. But yeah, let's look through Twitter and see what Twitter is saying. Tom PUFC, what did the sushi say to the B? I have watched the YouTube video, but for anyone that hasn't, Ricky J. Jones did a try not to laugh with Joel Randall and that Manny guy from the Sidemen. Yeah, that was one of the jokes in it. I can't actually remember the punchline for that one, Tommy. So let us know in the chat. But yeah, Carlisle. Very, very. I'm just looking at the Carlisle fans. They're very happy with how the game's going so far on Twitter. Visit the Derby County hashtag now because it's one of the worst out there, just for negativity. Actually, so they're not very happy with the referee, apparently. They've had a stop in the game at Derby for players observing Ramadan, which has just finished, which is fair enough. But yeah, Derby struggling so far to break through Reading, who have been really, really good. And you have to say that it's impressive the way that Reading have battled this season. Really, really great to see a team that really could have gone under, but haven't, and it is very impressive. As my Carlisle Bath versus Barnsley stream is back, get in. But yeah, 0-0 everywhere else. Barcelona are apparently winning 1-0. I'm not actually sure who they're playing this evening. Barcelona, Napoli. That's interesting. As we get another chat in the private. Yeah, I think we'll go then to someone who's got a much more reliable stream. Dan, just coming up now to quarter of an hour played at Oxford versus Bolton at the Tough Sheet Community Stadium. You said there's been chances for both teams. Is it still even, or has one side started to control this?
I think this is anyone's game at this point. Bolton have definitely had more of the ball, but I don't think it's really been anyone's ball at any point. It's been very scrappy, lots of going up for headers, and there's not been any controlled possession. Nathaniel Ogbetter's probably had the best chance since I last spoke to you, but it was he cut inside on his left foot. the ex-Barcelona, he fired quite a tame shot at the Oxford keeper, but saying that, he's just won a corner, so stay with me and I'll talk through this corner. I think Bolton will definitely, I can feel them sort of starting to turn up the heat now, and Better whips it in. Outswinger, and that's a really poor corner, which Oxford can get away quickly. However, now Magholmer's got the ball on the edge of the box, whips it in, but it goes out for a goal kick. That has sort of summed up Bolton's night so far, just not quite having that quality at the right moments. So it's 0-0, 16 minutes played. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. So yeah, still 0-0. As my stream continues to battle. Max says great save in the chat. I don't know if he can. I'll try and put him on here, Max Stairs, but I don't think he'll be able to. There he is.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's currently 0-0. Great save from the Reading keeper again, but it remains 0-0, and there's going to be a great free kick opportunity from Derby here. Again, I don't know if you can hear me. My connection is a
We
bit
can hear you
rubbish.
perfectly, mate.
It looks like it's going to be Joe Ward again, which will be an outswinger from the right-hand side of the box. You see here now, Derby have ramped up all the pressure during this half, but Reading have done well to stay in it. Derby have had some great opportunities, but it's still 0-0 here. It is between Horahan and Joe Ward to take this penalty. This free kick, sorry. Horahan is adjusting the ball. It looks like he'll take it, but it's on Joe Ward's favoured side. So we'll see here as to whether it is a Joe Ward free kick. Here we go. The whistle blows. It's Horahan. In swinger. Oh! And then in the crossbar.
Oh, there's a post, you right on the crossbar.
And in the crossbar.
It's a post.
It looks like Eric Cousin is at the top of the post. And now Derby's ball, as you can hear from the crowd. It's very close here as the ball from Portsmouth goes over the top. And Reading keep it out. But Derby maintain possession again. And it's gone out for a throw-in Derby's half. It's still 0-0 here.
Cheers, Max. Well, that's the most live support reporting we've had this evening. As while Max was taking us through that action, we've had quite a few goals in League One, including a goal in my game. Barnsley are level. That's right. It's 1-1. So Carlisle couldn't hold on to that shock lead for particularly long. I'm still grappling with trying to get this stream working again. But a stream that I know will be working is Sky Sports. It's a reliable hand, and we've had a goal at the Tough Sheet Community Stadium. So we'll head over there. Dan, who's got themselves ahead in that Bolton versus Oxford game?
It is Bolton who have got themselves ahead through former posh loney Nathaniel Ogbetter. I really miss him, I tell you. Cogley started off the attack, who spread it quickly over to Thomason, who then played a through ball over to Ogbetter on the left-hand side, who you think would cut in onto his right foot, but he just takes a touch on his left foot and powers it into the mid-right of the goal. And that is a sensational finish. And yeah, Bolton, I think, are really going to start controlling the tempo of the game now. And I really can't see Oxford getting back into this if Bolton don't slip up.
Cheers, Dan. So yeah, Bolton 1, Oxford 0. That's a game that Posh really could do with Oxford turning up for. They don't seem to have done so far. Look to have ridden their luck a little bit, and they've gone behind now. Meanwhile, Carlisle. What a horrible season they're having. They're pretty much already relegated in this league. They're not really putting up much of a fight, to be honest. And yeah, it's not looking good for them. Exeter have capitalised like Shrewsbury, 10 men, and they've taken the lead there. You'd expect them to kick on now, really, in this game and get something more from it, because they've got a massive opportunity here to go and make this game theirs, and make this game a game for them to springboard off of. They weren't actually bad when they played Posh the other week, Exeter. They looked a little bit shaky, a little bit inconsistent. They didn't really have much of a style of play, but they looked okay, and they'll be hoping that a big result tonight could get them back on the board. Caden, how's it going at Fratton Park? Obviously, Pompey 0, Burton 0. Is it as even a game as it looks on paper, or are Pompey knocking on the door?
It's been very dull over here. Pompey have been on the front foot, but Burton are coping with it well. They can be a decent side defensively, and they're playing similarly to how they did on Saturday. But I can see Portsmouth probably taking the lead in the second half. But yeah, I can't see any goal happening until the second half.
Fair enough. That's something that Burton will be happy with. If they can get a foothold in that game, you never know, because we've seen that the devastation of Amer's long throw for Burton. I don't know if Caden's been party to any of them this evening. But yeah, I'm sure he'll see some in that second half. Ed says, why is Max at the Derby game tonight? Max goes to uni in Derby. He's a sports journalist or football journalism student at Derby. At Derby Uni, so his uni gives him free tickets to Derby County games, and when Posh aren't playing, why not go and see some free League One football? So I'm gonna have to abandon, I think, the Carlisle versus Barnsley game, because the stream is absolutely rubbish. It's not proving useful, so I'm just trying to pick a game to watch. I think I'm gonna go for Northampton Blackpool. That seems to be the one that makes the most sense. They're two sides that are in the top half of the table. Blackpool pushing for playoffs, so it could be a decent game of football there. But yeah, we'll try and keep you updated with all of the scores as they go in, as we get another update from Bolton Wanderers versus Oxford. We'll have a quick chat from Dan, just a quick one, and then we'll move on through the other results. Dan, how is it going?
23 minutes played here, and to be honest, it's not gone quite as expected from what I would have thought after Bolton scored. Oxford have managed to get, it seems to have sparked a bit of a change in tempo for them, and they had a couple of attacking phases, but now we've got Harris down injured for Oxford, so the players are getting drinks. He seems to be up on his feet fine now, but I think it was just more of a precaution type thing. But yeah, can't see. It's been a really scrappy game. Not many clear-cut chances. I don't really see anything much happening now in the next 20 minutes or so. 1-0 Bolton, 24 minutes played.
So 1-0 Bolton. And apparently another great save at Derby. Hopefully we'll get Max back soon to hear about that game. So he's actually at the game, which I think is pretty awesome. But yeah, let me just edit this graphic that we have going across the bottom. I've only just realised I haven't been editing that. So what? It's Carlisle 1, Barnsley 1. It's not quite the production value you get with Sky Sports that we're getting here, but we'll try and get closer. We'll at least try and bring you some entertainment throughout the evening, if nothing else. The scores at the bottom, little outdated. Yeah, cheers, George. Just fixed them, so hopefully that should be all right now. Apparently, the ref at the Exeter game is having an absolute stinker. At the Shrewsbury game, apparently. Ooh, it doesn't look a red card. The Shrewsbury goal. It does. The Shrewsbury red card. It does not look a red card at all. But it's been given. But yeah, looks a little bit harsh, to be honest with you. as the comments will see what say. George says, appreciate you, no worries, mate. Always here to try and up the production value as Cambridge fans go into meltdown. I'm just scrolling through the replies to the goal, second goal tweet from their Twitter. Yeah, they think they're going down and may not go down. But yeah, they may not go down. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go back to Fratton Park. Portsmouth still 0-0 with Burton. Are they, Caden? I haven't had a score update here, but obviously you're watching the game. How's it going?
Yeah, still 0-0 up there. It was Burton with a corner, and it was a bit of a mess up. It was a poor pass, going straight to a Pompey player. Portsmouth then caught them on the break, and the cross went in to the back post, and it was Yengi, I think that's how you say it. He missed an absolute sitter. Literally, pretty much an open goal. It should be 1-0 here at Fratton Park, but no, it isn't. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, and while there's been no goal at Fratton Park, there has been another goal at Bolton. Who's it fallen for, Dan McClellan?
It is Bolton here again. It's their number 12, Cogley, that gets the goal. His hard work has rewarded him here. It's a really weird one. The ball's come running through, and the defender, Ley, number 22 for Oxford, has let the keeper run for the ex-MK Dons keeper incoming. And it just seems to be a complete miscommunication, where Cumming doesn't really pick the ball up. It bounces off both their bodies and basically plays a through ball for the Bolton number 12, who's able to just tap into an empty goal. The defenders look fuming with each other, and it's just real giveaway. And I think that sort of ruins the game a little bit, to be honest. So it's 2-0 here, 27 minutes played. And yeah, not great from Oxford.
Cheers, Dan. Great reporting from you. So yeah, 2-0 there. So 2 goals in that game. 2 goals at Carlisle as well. 1 apiece there. Another goal for Exeter at Shrewsbury. We said that they should capitalise on Shrewsbury's 10 men. Well, they've got 2 goals in just about 5 minutes. And it's Luke Harris who's got this second one. The young attacking midfielder who's actually on loan from Fulham. That's a fruitful partnership between the two clubs of recent years. Obviously, Jay Stansfield having his very successful loan at Exeter from Fulham last season. Another goal that game so far, but as many games goalless. We'll just run you through the scores quickly. So Carlisle United 1, Barnsley 1, Derby County 0, Reading 0, Fleetwood Town 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Leyton Orient 0, Port Vale 0, Lincoln City 2, Cambridge United 0, Northampton Town 0, Blackpool 0, Portsmouth 0, Burton Albion 0, Shrewsbury Town 0 with a red card, Exeter City 2, and Wycombe lead 1-0 at their home stadium against Wigan. So Adams Park is turning into a little bit of a fortress again. Bolton, obviously, we've just heard 2-0 up and cruising, it seems, on the telly. So the one that don't look like they're going to drop points this evening is Ashley Wilson with some harsh words about Oxford, although I'm not sure there's many that would disagree at the moment, including Oxford fans, which says quite a lot about the state of affairs at that football club at the moment. Certainly not the sort of happy atmosphere that it was towards the start of this season. All gone down to hill since Liam Manning left that football club. Middlesbrough, in other news, Middlesbrough are winning 1-0 at Birmingham in the Championship. In League 2, there's a couple of games this evening and a big one as well. Bradford at home are losing 1-0 to Forest Green. A goal in the first minute of that game, separating Bradford, who are pushing for the playoffs, from Forest Green, who looked all but dead and buried when Cotterill was appointed, but are now somehow out of the relegation zone as it stands. So incredible work there from Cotterill. Notts County have the lead away at Crawley, 0-0 between Crewe and Sutton. Grimsby Town 1, MK Dons 0. So if MK are good friends or not, getting beaten away at Grimsby. Newport 2, Morecambe 1, Swindon 0, Accrington 0, Tranmere 1, Mansfield 1. Mansfield going behind but responding just before half time. Lewis Reed getting the assist there. Walsall are winning 1-0, and Wrexham and Harrogate are tied at 0-0, pulling up to half time in all of the 7:45 kickoffs. Obviously, Dan's going to have to work through the halftime shift because he's got an 8 o'clock game, but he'll get his break from his game a bit later on. But yeah, still 2-0 in that one. Oxford showing very little signs of life at all in that game. In the Champions League, Arsenal 0-0 with Porto. That's a good game. A really good game. But yeah, they obviously lost 1-0 in the return legs. They need to win, Arsenal, if they want to get any chance of going through to the next round. They have to win. And they're not doing so far. So yeah, we find ourselves at a deadlock as Portsmouth will be frustrated with their first half. Caden, I'm sure that they won't be panicking yet, but there'll certainly be a sense of real shame with missed chances. Burton, you said, were putting in a proper dirty performance. They've had 3 yellow cards in that first half, including a yellow card for their goalkeeper. How has their goalkeeper been booked so far in this game, Caden?
Yeah, it's not been the greatest from Pompey so far. But yeah, it was a dirty challenge from the Burton keeper. I'd say I'm still confident Pompey will get a goal in the second half, although it's it probably will be getting a little bit worried for Portsmouth fans. It's been a little while now since, it's getting to a game and a half that they haven't scored for now, so they'll be hoping to get a winner in the second half.
Yeah, cheers, Caden. Sorry, I don't know if I cut you off there as you were about to say something. Apologies if I did. Charlie, what do you think of Steve Evans? I love Steve Evans. I really, really like Steve Evans. I think, listen, he's divisive, but he loves the posh, first of all, which, any man that loves the posh is already got a place in my heart. But yeah, he's a proper character, Steve Evans. Caden wants us back over with him because there's a penalty at Fratton Park.
Yeah, it looks like the penalty's been given over here. Just as you cut me off, it got given. It was actually two dirty challenges from Burton. So I'm not sure which one was the one that got given. As I've said, Burton, a very dirty side, but it's a penalty for Portsmouth here. And yeah, a great chance for them to open the scoring. I think that's Yangi that steps up to take it. It's just put the ball on the spot. Let's see if they can open the scoring. I think he's going to score. Let's see. He's running up now. Oh, he's dinked the keeper, and that is 1-0 to Portsmouth here. Although the keeper is not very happy with him. Yeah, it was Yangi that scored the penalty. And I am surprised, but it's 1-0 here at Fratton Park.
Yeah, I know, Caden, you said that was looking like a game that could end up going into half-time 0-0. A great time to score for Pompey. Really kills that momentum that Burton would have been building going into half-time at 0-0. Yeah, half-time in a lot of the fixtures, the only one still going on is that Burton game, that Shrewsbury game. Derby is still 0-0 with Reading. We'll hear from Max on that one in a minute, I'm sure. Actually, we've got Max here right now, so we'll hear from him about Derby 0, Reading 0 at half time.
Hello, I don't know how long I've got, so I'll make it quick, but it is 0-0 here at half time. Derby have had all the chances and all of the pressure. Joe Warne had two amazing set pieces saved active, and eventually they will score, I presume. But at the end of the day, at the moment, it's 0-0, Derby counting Reading.
Cheers, Max. Yes, some obviously a little bit of lag there, but that's to be expected within a football stadium. Pompey, come on, says Ed. What? I assume that's a bad come on. Being a posh fan, I'm sure you don't want Pompey winning. But yeah, that's half time in all of the 7:45 kickoffs. Only one game still going on, and that's Bolton versus Oxford. Bolton shot into an early lead, 2-0 after just 27 minutes. Dan, does it look like there's any signs of life in Oxford? Does it look like a comeback's possible, or are Bolton just going to see this very comfortable game out?
I think, don't think there's any chance for an Oxford comeback. I might be made to bite my eat my hat, but I don't think so. I think Bolton already. It's almost like they're going for more goals. I wouldn't say they're particularly trying to like close the game out. They're just going forward. There's not been any great attacks, but they're really starting to show signs of more confidence. Homer with a panner on one of the Oxford midfielders a minute ago, and a lovely dummy play from Gethin Jones, which absolutely sent his man. So they really just seem to be playing with that freeness and that just that confidence they maybe couldn't play with right at the start as they were worried about getting the goals. But yeah, I really don't see Oxford coming back now. It seems like they're sort of down tools and their confidence has been shot a little bit. So it's 2-0 here, 38 minutes to go, and yeah, Bolton dominating.
Thank you very much, Dan. So yeah, 2-0 there. It doesn't look like there's going to be a comeback, but definitely still chances for Posh to have a good night in League One. Obviously, Pompey only leading by 1 goal to 0. Derby still being held at 0-0 by Reading at Pride Park. You'd expect Derby to score in a game at Pride Park, so you think Reading are going to at least need to score once to have any chance of getting even a point out of that game. But yeah, it's currently it's a good night in League One. We've got so many games on. We'll run you through the scores quick off time before we take a quick 5-minute break. Obviously, we'll be ready to go to Dan if anything happens in Oxford. But I'm going to take a quick break in just 1 minute. So Carlisle 1, Barnsley 1, Derby 0, Reading 0, Fleetwood 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Leyton Orient 0, Port Vale 0, Lincoln 2, Cambridge United 0. More misery for the U's. Northampton 0, Blackpool 0, Portsmouth 1, Burton 0, Shrewsbury 0 with a red card. Exeter 3 now, so they've extended their advantage. They are running riot on the road. Wycombe 1, Wigan Athletic 0, and obviously Bolton 2, Oxford United 0 as well. So that's where we sit. I'm going to take a brief break. Obviously, we'll be back with Dan if anything of note happens in that Oxford game. But if not, we'll be back for the second half of all the 7:45s and the second half of Bolton Oxford in just 1 minute. Hello, everybody. So we're back for the second half. We're just about to get underway in most of the games of the evening. Still going, about to get to half time in Bolton versus Oxford. So we'll just go back to Dan quickly before he signs off for his half time break. Dan, is it still all Bolton, all one-way traffic at the tough sheet, or is there any sign of life in Oxford at all?
I mean, as we're talking now, Oxford have got a little bit of a phase of possession. It's only really been in their first half. They don't look dangerous at all. And Bolton are really controlling it. You can see exactly what Bolton have been working on in training here. Everything that they're trying to do is long balls over the top and Aaron Collins shielding it from his defender and trying to make an attack off that. And it's
Not sure if that is Dan lagging or me. I'm hoping.
that as the Oxford defenders' legs get tired, I think that ball in behind could be causing them absolute trouble. The whistle's just gone for half time, 2-0 Bolton, and yeah, I think they'll be confident for the second half.
Cheers, Dan. So yeah, Bolton to Oxford 0. That will be the score going into half time there. So yeah, a big result for Bolton, bouncing back from 2 draws in a row in style as well on for the TV cameras. I'm sure they'll be loving that. Yeah, we're just about to get back underway in most of the other League One fixtures of the evening. Let me just bear with me for just 1 second while I get a tweet out, just letting people know that we are still here. But yeah, should be getting back underway in most of the games. So a lot to play for this evening. Carlisle Barnsley are still 1-1. Derby still level with Reading. Fleetwood level with Bristol Rovers. Leyton Orient level with Port Vale. Northampton level with Blackpool Burton. Only behind by a 1-goal margin at Portsmouth. Wycombe only leading by a slender 1-0 lead against Wigan as well. Yeah, we're about to get back underway. Portsmouth aren't quite underway yet, so we won't go back to Fratton Park with Caden quite yet. They're still waiting for their start of the second half. They had quite a lot of added time at the end of the first, for obvious reasons. The penalty in the 98th, in the 48th minute of that half, definitely put the brakes on that game. What was I doing? Oh yes. Comments coming in. Charlie, what do you think is the score between Post versus Stevenage? It's a close one. It's going to be a really, really interesting game of football. I don't think it's going to be the best advert for League One, to be honest, because you know that Stevenage are a very defensive team, and Posh will be just trying to break them down and just keeping the ball. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to have on the Sky cameras. It's a big, big game for Posh, and if some of the results right now carry on going Posh's way, it's a big opportunity as well for Posh to make up more space on the teams ahead of them as well, which is always good in a promotion race. So right now, we're back underway in most of the games. Shrewsbury have just got back underway in their game with Exeter. That's probably been the most eventful game of the night so far in terms of Shrewsbury going down to 10 men before Exeter scoring 3 goals. They lead 3-0. Should be just about getting back underway at Fratton Park. So we'll let that first half play for just a few minutes before we go over and check with Caden as to how it's going in that game. I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining one. I'm going to try again with Carlisle versus Barnsley on the stream. May not have any luck, but I've got a stream right now as Barnsley are bursting forward here as they were for much of that first half. And good double save from the Carlisle goalkeeper, Harry Lewis. And it had to be a good save. But something tells me Carlisle are going to struggle in this second half. I've just got that feeling. Barnsley just attacking with such pace. But yeah, Barnsley, Carlisle goal kick. Barnsley have won it all. They've won it back. Poor defending from Carlisle. They can't get it away. And they're in here, Barnsley. And it's a goal. They have the lead. Barnsley have the lead. It's 2-1. They've turned it around at Carlisle. Really, really nicely worked goal. Really, really nice. Yeah, just Carlisle have the opportunity to head it away twice. Connell wins it back in the middle, though, and then from that point forth, it's relatively easy for Carlisle. Swift pass through. And then John McAtee just slides in and puts his body on the line to get on the end of a shot from the Barnsley number 9, Sam Cosgrove. So yeah, it's 2-1 there. Applause from Collins towards his team, the Barnsley manager. Carlisle fans into quiet depression again in this relegation suffering season. And we'll go to Fratton Park because we are back underway there. It's currently Pompey 1, Bolton, Caden. Sign that Burton are going to get back into this one, or that Bolton are going to extend their lead, perhaps?
Yeah, we're back underway for the second half, and Burton have just lost the ball, or they've regained possession. That was unlucky from Burton there. They're not the best of teams, Burton. They pump the ball up and hope to get something lucky. But the luck's not gone their way so far this game. Giving a penalty away didn't help them at all. I mean, you can say Portsmouth probably did deserve a goal, but it was a shame for Burton, really. And results really not going Posh's way today, are they? Burton with their favoured long throw here. It's just over the bar. Wow, that was close. The throw-in nearly reached the goal there, and Will Norris was out of sight. So yeah, it's still 1-0 to Portsmouth here.
Cheers, Caden. Yeah, Burton's long throws. You can never feel comfortable when they've got the ball out wide. It makes clearing the ball difficult as well, because you'd almost rather give away a corner against Burton than a throw. And the throws are much more dangerous. They've got Harmer, who's got an absolute weapon of a throw on him. We'll see if Max says he's in the call. We'll see if we can get him on to talk about Derby. And here he is.
Hello. It appears to be a Derby corner, as you can hear around me. I don't know how long I've got, so we'll go momentarily before my connection goes. But Derby again have come out the second half, only 5 minutes through, another more dominant side by far. It has been a difficulty for Reading, but again, they're defensively sound and they're making sure that Derby's chances are limited and far between. However, it still remains 0-0 Derby and Reading.
Well, I don't know if you guys can see or hear me. I'm hoping that you can. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's happened here, to be honest. It's not looking good, Brev, for the connection. But I'm back, and Max is back as well because there's been a goal at Pride Park, Max.
Hello. So it's a goal for Derby County. It appears to be Dwight Gale who scored the goal. It was a set piece taken from what seemed to be Joe Ward, and Dwight Gale spied it into the roof of the net. It is 1-0 Derby here, which must disappoint Ruben Sellers and his side, who has been really defensively dominant for the past 60 minutes. But Derby County have now taken the lead, which in terms of Peterborough United must be terrible, but you can hear the fans here. And it means a lot to the fans, as you would expect. It's Derby County 1, Reading 0.
Thank you very much, Max. So yeah, for that update. So yeah, Derby County 1, Reading 0. I'm just trying to reset the laptop here because yeah, all sorts of connectivity issues, which took to both me and my brother in an issue. But we should be okay. We should be able to get it reset and get back underway properly in a second. Max, while I'm trying to do, Caden, sorry, while I'm trying to do this, do you want to let us know how it's going for Pompey and how it's going for Burton at Fratton Park?
Nothing's really changed over here. Portsmouth are trying to extend their lead, and Burton are trying to get an equaliser, although it's looking more and more less likely. Max wants going over to, if you can sort that, Charlie. But yeah, results really not going in Posh's favour tonight. Charlie?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't actually got Max in here right now. Connection for him is just as bad as I think. Try and get once he gets back into the StreamYard. Obviously, yeah, connection issues are always going to be a problem here, but we have got Max back. I'm going to head over to him now.
Hello, and Sam Smith has equalised instantly. He's come back and he has headed the goal home from what seemed to be a Reading set piece. It was an amazing sort of run from Sam Smith. Wasn't tracked by any Derby defender, and we are here now, 1-1. Can Derby come back into it? It seems likely, but Ruben Sellers has got his goal back. Can they keep hold of it? We'll have to see during the game. But concurrently, it is Derby 1, Reading 1.
Cheers, Max. Careful not to get beaten up in that derby end. Sounding so excited about a Reading goal. Caden, can you just cover for just 1 second while I deal with this technical issue? Just talk us through what's going on at Portsmouth versus Burton while I just deal with this quick issue.
Yeah, Portsmouth are actually going forward here, trying to get a shot away, or